angel, the spiritual science of the Holy Blood and of the Holy Grail. For many years, Moses was the high priest of the sun mysteries in the Egyptian city of Heliopolis, the city of the sun, the biblical On. As the Egyptian mysteries had entered into a stage of decline, it was ordained by the divine spiritual powers which guide mankind that there would be a change in the course of human evolution. Consequently, a divine mandate was given to Moses that he should lead the Hebrew people out of Egypt. When Moses finally led the Exodus out of Egypt, the great sun being that had inspired the Egyptian mysteries of Osiris also departed. While leading the Exodus out of Egypt, it was revealed to Moses on Mount Sinai how the Adam Kadmon, the primordial human being, was created by the divine word through the agency of the formative processes of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. This idea is expressed in the anonymous Hebrew text Sefer HaTemunah, which I quote from the 3rd chapter of the book by Elliot R. Wilson entitled Circle in the Square, Studies in the Use of Gender in Kabbalistic Symbolism. And I quote, "These 22 letters with which the Torah was written are specified in a great and hidden secret, and it is without doubt the true image, Hatamuna ha-amitit. As it is written, he beholds the image of the Lord." Numbers 12:8. And this is the secret of the names of the Holy One. Blessed be he, and the power of his actions. Permission has not been given to explain but some of them. They are the secret of the Sephiroth, the 10 divine emanations of God, and the attributes, Midot, and the secret of the angel, and the secret of God. The secret of the Sephiroth is that they are in the image and form of an anthropos, or human being. End quote. According to an esoteric tradition, after receiving this holy wisdom, which was encoded upon the original tablets that he brought down from Mount Sinai, Moses returned to his people, only to find them transgressing the law and worshipping the golden calf. This moved Moses to cast the tablets down and thereby shatter them to pieces. For Moses realized that the Hebrew people in their present state were unworthy to receive this holy wisdom as an inner law. Consequently, Moses recognized that the Hebrew people were only capable of receiving an outer law, and so he caused a new pair of tablets to be carved which contained the 10 commandments that proscribed the 10 transgressions against the 10 Sephiroth, without revealing their holy mysteries. This was done in order to prepare the Hebrews to be worthy of receiving into their midst a Messiah. This messianic mission of the Hebrew people came to be fulfilled around 1200 years later in the person of Jesus, in whom would fully incarnate for a period of around 3 years the one and only time in earth evolution, Christ, the great Sun being. Through this divine act of redemption, mankind was to receive the new, higher, inner law of love, the Golden Rule. They would proceed directly from the mouth of the new Adam, the Word made flesh. This is expressed by St. Paul in Galatians 5:14. Quote, "For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." End quote. This holy wisdom, which was encoded in the original Mosaic tablets, subsequently became secretly preserved in an oral tradition, which was committed to memory by those who were deemed worthy to receive these great mysteries. In later periods, parts of this oral tradition came to be written down and transmitted to a select few through the body of esoteric teachings that came to be known as the Kabbalah, which means to receive, or tradition. During his long career as the high priest of Heliopolis, Moses both received and conducted initiations into the sun mysteries and other mysteries of the ancient Egyptians. Like the esoteric training that was required for penetrating the mysteries of the Kabbalah, the preparation for initiation into the Egyptian mysteries required years of study and dedication in order to fulfill the task of memorizing the fundamental images and ideas that are related to the path of initiation. In ancient Egypt, these images and ideas were presented in the temple artwork and in the sacred hieroglyphic language. The preliminary training began with the study of the language. After many years of study, if one were deemed qualified, they would be selected to study the secret scrolls that were kept in the scriptorium. That was part of the temple complex and was known as the Per-Ankh, or House of Life. The House of Life had a central place in the cultivation of the ancient Egyptian sacerdotal culture, and was conceived to be a means whereby the principle of Isfet, evil or chaos, was overcome through the principle of Ma'at, or order. As a training center and repository of the ancient sacred texts, the House of Life was a means of maintaining continuity with the past for the fundamental guiding principles that were received through inspiration from the beings of the spiritual world that had been left to posterity in hoary antiquity by great initiates like Imhotep, the founder of a sun mystery center in Upper Egypt known as the Temple of Horus at Edfu, in the reign of the third dynasty pharaoh Zoser, or Djoser, circa 2630 to 2611 BC. The Egyptian temple itself was considered to be a sacred sanctuary that maintained harmony with the cosmic order, or Ma'at, through the transmission and guidance of the ritual activities that were performed within the sacred precincts of the temple itself. For these rites, which were centered around complex ritual formulae that were performed before an array of sacred images, served to maintain the connection of earthly life to the supersensible realms and the beings that dwelt therein. Furthermore, the sacred Ma'at life that was being generated through daily ritual activities was given a wider dissemination beyond the sacred precincts of the temple through numerous yearly festivals, which included certain festivals during which the images of the gods, or netters, were carried in processions or outside the temple, so that the common people could share more completely in the benefits of this generated Ma'at, or life, that was conceived to be the very lifeblood of Egyptian culture. In ancient Egypt, several forms of language were taught. First, the hieratic script that was primarily used for mundane affairs, and second, the hieroglyphic picture language that was reserved for sacred and official use. There was also a cursive form of hieroglyphics that was learned first, before one learned the pictorial form of the sacred monumental hieroglyphic script. For the sake of being thorough on the subject of Egyptian language, I should mention that there was also another later written language called Demotic, which was developed for daily use in the 7th century BC out of the spoken language, and after that the Coptic language was developed through Greek influence in the 4th century AD. The acquisition of a certain degree of mastery in the sacred language was considered vital by the ancient Egyptians for receiving initiation, so that one would be in possession of a means for understanding the profound supersensible experiences which resulted from the various initiations. The understanding of the sacerdotal language was also deemed vital because it was believed to be necessary to know the sacred formulas which would allow safe passage through the different levels of the supersensible realms. Sacred formulas which were based on the names of the beings that would be encountered. Furthermore, the sacred training received would also serve as a vehicle for retaining the memory of these transformational initiation experiences afterwards in one's daily life. These initiations were acquired in ancient Egypt by traveling to the temples that were located in the sacred domains, or nomes, that were each dedicated to different deities. There were 22 nomes in Upper Egypt and 20 nomes in Lower Egypt, and on one level, all 42 nomes together can be thought of as forming the body of 42 attributes that are judged in the afterlife and are perfected by becoming one with Osiris. These 42 attributes of judgment are referred to in the pyramid texts. I know the names of the 42 gods who are with you within the Hall of Two Truths. This allusion to the Hall of Two Truths is in a dualistic way in connection to the symbol of the scales of judgment. These scales represent Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of truth and cosmic order, whose attributes connect her occultly with the goddess referred to by H.P. Blavatsky as Karma Nemesis, or by others as the Great Goddess. This appearance of Ma'at in association with the scales of judgment is a demonstration of the dualistic nature of the assessment by the 42 gods in the eyes of the ancient Egyptians. This was considered to be a process whereby the 42 gods would evaluate the testimony of the heart, or in other words, they would assess the karma of the individual so that their names might be written in the book of life by the divine scribe Thoth, or as he is referred to in the Hermetic writings, Hermes Mercury, the shepherd of souls.